We are recording.
Hmm.
What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome back to another episode of Overthinking Understanding Podcast. I'm your host, Victoria Moore, and we are back with another episode. What's going on? What's going on? We're here with a wonderful episode. We're coming with a special guest, Tess. Can you introduce yourself for us?
Yes, hi Victoria. I'm Tess Cheng. I'm based in Miami. Um, I help people make sustainable changes to improve their health because I'm a health and wellness coach. I'm passionate in improving people's health, improving the awareness of the strategies they can do to actually prevent diseases. And and actually to actually realize that health is the foundation of everything we want to do in life.
I love that. I love that. I thank you so much. I cannot show my gratitude enough for you coming on the show. Your what you are and just the lifestyle and what you do just resonates so much with the podcast. So just again, I thank you so much for coming on the podcast and sharing the teachings that you have took the time to learn and study with my guests. So I definitely enjoy that.
My
And
pleasure.
all right. So, can you give us some mindful strategies to clear overthinking mind? Like what does
Mm.
that what does that like how does that resonate with you?
Oh yes, very much so. Overthinking, I know we can tend to do that a lot these days. And in order to have clarity, I would suggest to start with some deep breathing exercises, for about 5 minutes. And that way, it helps focus on your breath rather than, your thoughts. And maybe try some mindful walking. So you go out for a walk and actually pay attention to the steps you are taking and be mindful, watch where you're going, your surroundings, the environment, and pay attention to the sound, maybe to some birds singing, and then something maybe also journaling is actually a good way, to actually it's a good strategy. So you journal about your thoughts, this way you have more clarity. And some also five senses exercises. So basically, you pay attention to how you feel, what you're tasting, how you feel, what you see, and what you are feeling. For example, and what you're hearing as well. So those senses are important, and maybe have some mindful pauses. So when you're working in front of a computer, it maybe have some triggers to get you to stand up. Stand off your desk or have some coffee breaks, and those pauses are important. And in the morning, it's always useful to start with some mindful eating. So maybe pay
Yeah.
rather than just busy, trying to look at your phone, answering messages, but actually pay attention to what's in front of you.
That is wonderful. That is all great tips. I definitely resonate so much with the walking. Excuse me, walking and the journaling. Walking helps
Yes.
so much when life starts getting chaotic. That's one of the things that I do. Grab my spouse or just myself, just go
Yeah.
out and walk. And everything you said just rang so true. You listen to the wind blowing. You feel the wind. You have the dogs going. Even just the bugs flying around making noises. It's
Yeah.
kind of like you getting yourself you're getting your self grounded, and is like you say, being very mindful of your situations, getting yourself grounded.
Mhm.
So I love that. How have you seen mindfulness affect positive change without the clients that you've had?
Oh, very much so. It helps them to break the cycle of overthinking.
Okay.
And so in situations when they feel stressed or overwhelmed, I suggest to them, to actually look at the situation and be curious rather than approach it with stress. So actually approach it with curiosity and wonder, makes and ask yourself, why am I having this thought?
Yeah.
Why am I not why am I overreacting? And that way it increases self-awareness, and also it will reduce overreaction at times.
Oh, that's so. Would you say mindfulness leads to clarity?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, very much so, because you have more of a sense of self-awareness, and you actually think more about the thoughts you are having, and then this way you are not just reacting. You're actually basing it on facts and your needs, so you can make better decisions.
Okay, so we're making better decisions. We're doing there, and you say like how it produces clarity. How are people able to keep that balance? Like how are people able to put themselves in a stress? They're in a stressful situation. How are we
Mm,
able to ground ourselves? Maybe in a public area or at work, or something's going on where it's a high stress environment. You may not be able
yeah.
to take a walk or journal at that moment. How are you able
Yes.
to create that balance and tell a person to you could be mindful in any situation? How are you able to do that? Do you
Mm.
have any strategies for that?
Yes, I think take a step back and acknowledge your thoughts without judgment,
Okay.
and redirect your attention about what's actually important to you. And as if you focus on the present moment, and then think about why you're having these thoughts and feelings, and actually think about them before you know you actually have some have spent time processing them, so that way you might be you might actually come up with a better solution, rather than just reacting to the first thing that comes to your mind.
I love that. I love that. So, self connection. Like, would it be kind of trying to, in the midst of chaos, trying to get like reconnected to yourself,
Yes.
taking a step back and kind of like detaching away from your environment?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
I
exactly.
Oh, that's wonderful. I
Yes.
love that. So, and I know you brought up being able to start off. You brought up a lot of things about a morning routine, or
Mm,
people not just like grabbing their phones, or trying to start
yes.
off with eating. How can you? Are you willing to share with the listeners and the viewers about a little bit of your morning routine? Like, if probably one of the best. Like if you do it, you're a coach, so you probably got a wonderful routine. Are you willing to share, or maybe share
Mm,
like
of
an
course.
outline of routine that you've
Yes.
maybe given clients?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Okay,
very much so. I usually suggest to my clients also, as well as I do them myself, is first thing in the morning, don't turn your phone on.
okay,
You don't reach for your phone, but
okay,
actually get up and have some, I would say, have 2 glasses of water to rehydrate yourself after a whole night of sleeping. Your body
okay,
needs it, your brain needs it. So that's a good habit to get into with some
okay.
fluid intake. And then if you can go outside, get some sunlight exposure, daylight exposure. That way it resets your circadian rhythm and get your day going. So daylight exposure is very useful, especially first thing in the morning. So do that, and at the same time, maybe some deep breathing exercises for about 5 or 10 minutes, and just focus on your breath.
I love
And
that.
that, yeah, and that's really, it's a good way to get up, and then have the intention, be intentional about your day. Think about how you're going to take charge and focus on your day, and what you need to be, what you actually get to do, and what you need to do, what your priorities are. um, and then you can think about, what you would like to have some breakfast, or before that, some people, they are into meditation. So that
Yes.
could be, that is also another good thing to incorporate. And maybe, if you have an app, you can use it to guide you to meditate, or if you're good at doing it yourself, I always listen to an app. I think it's
Yeah,
easier for me. But some people can do it by themselves. They can sit there and meditate for about 10 minutes. So those are some of the things I would suggest for morning routine.
I love that. I love all of that. About when you say like don't get up and grab your phone initially, how does that work in a space where we feel like we're just like attached to our phones? Like
Mm,
opening our eyes is almost cutting on our phones. Do you feel like that is something that is wired to a thought process, maybe a mindset, and it just takes people like stepping back and realizing like your phone is an extension of you, but it's not you. Like you could live without your phone. If something was
yeah,
to happen to your phone, you're able to live without your phone.
yes.
How do we go about that? Because I know for me myself, I had to start getting like alarm clocks. Because if I have to cut the phone off with the alarm, I'm going to snooze it a
Mm,
couple times. Just be
yes.
honest and transparent. Depending on how tired I am, I'm going to snooze it a couple times, and
Hmm.
then soon as I like unsnooze it, or like okay, I'm actually getting up now, the phone is in my hand. Now the alarm system that woke me up to start my day, now I'm tied to my phone, and with like subconsciously without you even thinking about it, now I'm drifting over to Instagram and Facebook,
Exactly.
and I love how you said like you have to be intentional about your day and the stuff that is
Mm.
going on, because that's one of the things where now you know that you done shaved off an extra 20, 30 minutes that you needed because you're just scrolling through social media. So how how do you have any strategies for like disconnecting from the cell phone, cellular devices, anything like that?
Yes, yes. For a start, I always say, if you need an alarm to wake you up, get an alarm clock. So
Yes, I
this
love
way,
that.
you're not using the phone to do it for you.
Okay.
And at night, turn it off and put it away somewhere. So not right next to your bed. So turn it off because the we need a break from the blue light from all the devices and the phone, and we really do not want to be near the phone in the middle of the night. Even if we wake up, that doesn't help you with your sleep quality.
No, not at
And
all.
so it's best to turn it off, put it away, put it somewhere where it can rest as well because it has to work all day with you. So put it away, just give it a break. And then in the morning, have the alarm clock wake you up, and then to have a morning, do the morning routine, have the practice, and then you feel that, okay, now I'm ready for my phone, I'm ready to check my messages. As you said, otherwise, if you reach for the phone first thing in the morning, it's very easy to get distracted.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
You have things you want to do, but then you get distracted, and as you say, before you know it, an hour goes by and you're just checking messages, scrolling through social media, maybe see something that might be upsetting,
yes.
and then you just forget about your routine. And so it's better to do the things you want to do in the morning to set your day going, and then have the practice and be prepared to turn your phone on. And then you say, well, yeah, that's it. I'm ready now for all
Yes.
these messages.
Yeah, all right. It's time to all right. I done downloaded. Now it's time to re-upload for the day.
Yeah.
I'll definitely say with being a active duty service member, I understand it so much. I think I have one of the worst habits of, it's a good habit and a bad habit because I get overwhelmed or I get anxious or
Mm,
like you say, being intentional about what I have going on. If I let it, the service takes so much away from you. It's like while you at work is so demanding. Like you have your soldiers, you have your
mm,
higher ups, and you it just seems like you're always needed and everything is a high level of importance. Which in the regular world you know that the priorities are set throughout the time in the service. A lot of times that I catch myself letting other people set my priorities, and that's just the way of the game. Like you saw, I saw my life away.
mm.
The military, the mission goes first. So with that being said, a lot of times the phone is such a high anxiety place for me
Yes.
because it has
Yeah.
I could get a call at 3 o'clock in the morning. A soldier is maybe drunk trying to do the right thing and they need a ride home, or
Mm-hmm.
I could get a call at the regular time. I didn't, like you said, I done started my day. I love starting my day off working out or getting on the bike, and then when I don't do
Mm.
it, I feel so disconnected.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
now I started my day and it's great, and I'm like, all right,
Mm.
let's go, and then boom, hey, we have a soldier mission. We haven't heard from this soldier in a couple of days, and it just, like you say, just to disconnect from the cell phone,
Yes.
just it just helps me out so much. And even now, like I told you off before we started, like my mom has been in the hospital for a little
Mm.
bit, and I still get calls, and I'm like,
Yes.
I was granted leave, I'm on emergency leave, and then they
Mm.
just call, and I'm like, I'm like, this is not just like, hey, I'm on regular leave having a good time, like I have something going
Yes.
on. So then it's like, okay, decline, text if it's something that important. Of course, like I'll call back, but usually it's never
Sure.
that important. It's never that important to disconnect or put myself back in that mindset of the heavy burdens that come with being a service member, and then on top of the real world. Because regardless, like if I get out tomorrow, the real world and the mindfulness of my everyday life will still be there. If I let
Exactly.
the military take that away, like you say,
Mm.
it's like you said earlier, just disconnect. It just disconnects and it has you razzle and dazzle all over the place, and it doesn't make it the best. So
No, no.
I brought that up to say, for people who maybe cannot, um people that maybe could not, like myself, necessarily just completely turn the phone off, what
Mm.
are other methods that you suggest? Like do not disturb, or maybe blocking do not disturb for a certain period of time,
Yes. Yeah.
or
Put
like,
it on mute.
yes, mute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Put it on mute. And it's important to set boundaries
Yes,
because
yes,
otherwise everything seems to be priority. And
yes,
if everything is a priority, then none of it is a priority.
exactly. Yes, I agree with I agree with that so much.
Yeah. So set the time, say, maybe put it on mute for the first hour every day, or even in the middle of the day. And then that way you can have a break, you can go outside for a walk, um,
Okay.
without the phone with you. And over time, as I said, with any new habits, just, you know, practice it, then, practice small habits every day. And little by little, they will just become part of your routine and it just gets easier. At the beginning, it might be a bit overwhelming, but you're very, we're all very adaptable and you get used
Yes.
to that feeling. And then after a
Yes.
while, you say, oh, it's actually not such a bad thing to have not to have my phone with me.
Yes. I like I say, I love that, and like you said, just the deeper, excuse me, like you said, just it's like a deeper self connection, and if you're
Mm,
not rooted within yourself, the world could root you. It could root you and unroot you, and then, okay, I'm gonna place you over here. Now you uprooted. I'm gonna place you over here. Now you uprooted. We have to have those things that keep us rooted into being the person that we are. So
yeah.
like I say, I love those strategies. So, we already talked about it a little bit with the mindful morning routine. Keeping a mindful morning routine to reduce stress, promote wellness,
Mm,
experiencing a morning mindful routine is like you say, you get used to it. How do we stay on track or get back on track when a rock or something is thrown into our plan where we're not able to necessarily? I get up in the morning, I may be able
mm,
to meditate for 5 minutes, but the walk or the exercise or the eating is what's actually a key part of my routine that I'm not able to do. Now I'm a little bit agitated, irritated. How do
mm.
I reconnect to my morning routine if for some reason I'm not able to do a couple steps that I have outlined that has made me a better person that I incorporated into my morning routine?
Mm. Well, as I said, always start with one small step at a time, and you can
Yes, ma'am.
add another one. So don't overwhelm yourself and say, these are the 5 things I'm going to start doing tomorrow morning.
Exactly. That's it, right? this is the 20 outline right here. This is what I'm finna be doing. Just
Yeah,
checking them
exactly.
off while you doing it.
But
Like,
start with one practice, maybe per week, and then you get used to it, and and also sometimes it might not work for you. Find what
yes,
works. You might think, oh, I like this, or maybe I don't really like this. Let me try something else, and maybe
yes,
something else is easier. And this way you can add them up, one after another.
yes,
But I always say also sometimes, when you are actually building something, building new habits, accountability and support can really, help you. And
okay,
perhaps, you don't have to do it alone. Maybe have a friend or a supportive community or a mentor or even a coach. Sometimes having someone there to guide you, keep you accountable, and offer his or her insights can really make a difference. And this, making change, making lasting change takes time.
yes.
And sometimes having the right support system can ensure that your efforts align with your goals and make the process more sustainable.
That that's amazing. We didn't even really touch on the brief outline that I gave you about this episode. We didn't even touch on one of two of the segments, and for you to bring up accountability, it just resonates how it's literally all in line. Like for us to
Hmm.
not even discuss it, and that's a major part. And one of the segments is just accountability and the support. Support is such a big thing. I speak about it all the time. Like,
Yes.
people say we're born alone, we're gonna die alone, and it's true and it's not true. For the way that I look at it is like, your mom was there, the doctor was there. Like, regardless, yes, you came out of
Mm.
the whatever, however how you were born, you came through
Yes.
however you came, um, by yourself, but you had support, and
Yeah.
we kind of get caught up in I'm born alone, I'm gonna die alone. I haven't seen, like,
Mm.
even situations happen, like, Lord forbid something happens where you're not able to get a proper burial, something like that.
Yeah.
But 9 times out of 10, people are laid to rest by somebody. Like I said,
Mm.
you come into the world with a support system, and you're gonna leave with some type of support system, even if it's complete strangers, even if it's,
Yes.
hey, it was a body discovered on the side of the road. It's somebody's job to make sure that
Mm.
your body is taken care of. It may not be necessarily a proper burial, but somebody is going to take care of you. So I love how you say support and accountability, and just like you say with the overthinking, that's one of my things, that overthinking, understanding, like the whole podcast. So to
Yeah.
say, like, I'm born alone, I'm gonna die alone, it's like,
Yeah.
no. Overthinking, understanding, like, yes, you could think about it, just like, oh man, I came into this world by myself. Like, okay, let's dissect that. Like, so
Yeah.
you cut your own umbilical cord. You was telling your your mom to push. Matter of fact, your mom wasn't even there because so you came into the world by yourself, and you
Yeah.
kind of, and like you say, it just to goes back to what we are saying, just the mindfulness and
Mm.
the self connection and understanding that the world could kind of throw all these things at you, and, like, hey, nobody's coming
Mm.
to save you, this, that, and the third. And like you say, just having a coach. Like, I love boxing. Like I said, military keeps showing this crazy schedule, but I love having the accountability of a coach, and just being able to work with a coach. It's not so much that you're not able to do it on your own, but you say it's a support. Like, as humans, we are not made to, in my opinion, like, in the strongest humans, you could get obsessed, and but it's the support. It's the
Oh,
support
yes.
and the connection that we have, because we're living beings, and just like we're talking about the breathing and the mindfulness and getting connected with the earth, we are connected. Like, all
Oh,
of us
yes.
are connected with the world. So, in my opinion, even introverts, when you seclude yourself off, it kind of takes away from what makes us human. And we're not realizing, like you say, everything is tied into our wellness, into our health.
Mm.
You think that you just not feeling good, or hey, I'm just having a bad day, I'm struggling off, but it may be some bitterness that you're holding, or you just need to be connected and grounded,
Oh, yeah.
and learn, or get connected with a support system, and you're not doing it, so it's kind of throwing you off. So That I love that. Are you do you have any tools? Like I said, your coach. Do you have any tools for keeping people accountable?
Well, I actually send them reminders,
Okay.
and very often, especially I think when people feel overwhelmed or when things become, seem unclear, it's
Yes.
important to keep them on track. And
Yes.
if they stay off track, you actually remind them on what their long-term goals are,
Yes.
rather than focus on, what they're uncomfortable about doing. Actually, think about what they want to achieve in the long term. And
Yes.
this way, they would actually, they might actually be more inclined actually to, go through the things they need to do.
Yes,
And,
ma'am.
that's one thing, I will always say, just stay on track. And if you come up, get off track, we're humans, it
Yes.
happens.
It is
Um,
definitely.
and rather than looking at it as a failure, look at it as a learning process.
Yes. And yes, and that I think one thing that you said that that goes in line perfectly with what you just said there is that as humans we adapt. Like you said,
Yes,
like you
yeah.
we adapt, and that's like that's exactly what I can kind of take from what you're saying right now. It's just being
Mm,
able to adapt and keeping in mind that end goal, because in the thick of it, it's definitely you definitely kind of forget why you started or where you want to go with a process. But just like you say, that just going back to being connected and being mindful. Like all of that is being mindful. It's like, what am I doing it for? Because once you start telling yourself, in order for me to do my morning routine, I may need to wake up 30 minutes to an hour early,
yeah,
even if it is just that one step to do breathing. The dogs are not going to be up. My spouse is
mm.
not going to be up. The kids may not be up, and I have this time to myself to even do
Yeah,
10 minutes of breathing. It may take 30 minutes to get your 10 minutes of breathing out,
exactly.
and
Yeah,
so like I say, I love that. I love
yeah,
that
yeah,
so much. And
yeah.
so go ahead.
And it's important to remind yourself that it's not about perfection, it's about
Yes,
progress.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
And we
So,
and we do get stuck on that. We do get stuck on even sometimes you get so caught up in a routine, but now you have made it a job and you made something that is supposed to help you not kind of alleviate stress. You
mm,
done made it stressful. Like you said, like it's not about perfection. So now you like, oh man, like you say, with overwhelming yourself. I do these five things every day, and I make sure that I hit these five things in order. And this is how I'm doing it. And it's like this is not helping. But now you have made it a job. Now you have
yeah.
made it where you're not trying to self connect. Now you're just like, I gotta get this stuff done, and almost kind of
Yeah.
like sometimes you get into like rituals or stuff like that. You're like, I have to get this done in this way. If not,
Mm,
I'm stressed out. And you're like, well,
yeah.
you kind of stressed out right now. Like, you very much so giving me stressed out. So
Yes, yeah. It's important to have fun as well about what you do and to enjoy what you're doing.
yes,
As you say, rather than otherwise, it just becomes like a job, and it's too much pressure. And you don't want to put
yes,
yourself under that kind of pressure, especially not first thing in the morning.
yes. So with you being a coach, do you offer do how can I say it? Like I say with boxing, we live in a we're in an age now where so much stuff is. I'm sorry, hold on. All right. Sorry about that, Tess. So
Okay.
we're live in an age where we have this heavy online presence,
Mm-hmm.
and where you wouldn't be able to maybe find a wellness coach in your area, or you're
Mm.
not able to necessarily connect. Like everything is about connection. Just
Yeah.
because somebody is a coach doesn't mean that they fit for you. Same thing with like
Oh.
fitness or cooking or anything like that. So are your services are they only offered in person or online? Like, how does it work for
Oh.
you?
Oh, yeah, no, that's a very good question. No, actually, a lot of my clients, I see them like, like what we're doing on Zoom. So we have coaching sessions on Zoom, because very often, a lot of my clients are actually not in Miami; they're out of the state, and
Okay.
this way, and also they feel that it gives them the flexibility that otherwise an in-person. program wouldn't give them. And they can fit in between their meetings or at the weekends when they, more comfortable, they have more time. If they happen to be in Miami, then we have in-person session from time to time. That's also
Oh,
quite useful. It's different, when you actually can meet face to
yes.
face, and that's really enjoyable. And sometimes I also do supermarket tours. So I actually take them to a supermarket, and we walk from one aisle to another to actually go through all the products, and I will show them how to read food labels, and so they know, so they can make wiser choices when it comes to grocery shopping. And you'll be amazed, what they will find. They very often are surprised about what they learn. What the label actually tells them, how much fat there is, how much sugar, and the ingredients list, all the offensive items. So this way they learn how to read it properly, what the numbers mean, and that has to be done in person. But otherwise, a coaching session is fine. We do this every week. We do a follow up, we set goals, and they come back and talk about their challenges or what they've done well the week before and what they would like to work on. And yeah, as you said, with the online technology these days,
Yeah.
this people are used to just being online, and we are, we like it because we can do it anywhere.
Yes.
If they're traveling, if you're traveling, you can still get on. For example, at the moment, I'm actually in the UK. I'm not
Yeah.
in Miami.
Yeah. Yes, she is.
Yeah, so but that doesn't stop us from talking to each other, which is wonderful.
Yes, yes. Like I said, my previous job before I got here, like I was telling you, we traveled all over the world. We have
Yes.
been all over the place. But to keep it focused in on what you said, because I loved it. I'm actually studying. I'm finishing up my bachelor's in nutrition. So
Mm,
I just kind of want
excellent.
to stick in that space on how you say about food. Like it,
Mm,
I never like I wouldn't have thought that, and I'm happy that you said it. But to just take someone to the grocery store, the way that you look at food and the emotional attachment to food, and sometimes it could be, I want to say it can help and hurt, just like anything. It's almost like a catch 22. What you do with your food and the food that you put into your body. Once again, now you're talking about what you're rooted in. If you're
mm,
eating a bunch of junk food or just filling yourself up with a bunch of processed foods, and then you want to go walking, or just the different way that you feel. One thing that I do that I've done for the last 6 7 years is fast, and I
yes.
started alternate day fasting now. So I go without eating for 36 to 40 hours. And people
Mm.
be like, you're crazy." But when I first started it, when I first started the fasting, it was for church. Like it was for
Oh,
the
yes.
belief of getting connected and more
Mm,
grounded with God. And it just became, uh, I don't want to, you know what? I'm going to say it. Just to be fully transparent, sometimes food, it could become like a suffocation. It's like
mm,
I felt like it was suffocating my body. Like I'm not able to breathe,
yes.
and no longer was food my healing. It's like when,
Yeah.
like you say, I got used to fasting and being able to. Now, when you're hungry, you get past being hungry, and it's just
Mm,
something so beautiful about, like, okay, this is me. I can make these decisions. You kind of control, like, people make so much money off of the hangry
oh,
merchandise.
yes.
I'm hangry. Don't talk to me until I have my coffee. All these different things, and it's
Yeah.
like I learned that, okay, I could control this. Like the hunger will pass,
Mm.
the stuff will pass, and what can I do outside of putting food inside of my body, using the food that I already have, the nourishment, whatever that I already have, and make it better. So just sticking within that space, what is the significance of taking your clients to the supermarket? I know you touched on a little bit, like reading the labels, but what
Mm.
is the significance about it that it makes a difference that you have even incorporated that into your coaching?
Where they have more of awareness of what food manufacturers are trying to do to us,
Okay.
trying to brainwash us into thinking something is actually healthy, and it's not. Because on the front of the packaging, very often they can say anything, because when the front of the packaging can have anything, they can actually try to distract you with messages like low in sodium or low in sugar. But when you
Yes.
look on the back, it's actually very high in fat. Or they might put on the front saying organic. And then people think immediately, oh my God, it's organic. This must be healthy. But if it's organic potato chips, they are still potato chips.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So this way they can look at different packaging and have more of awareness. And once you're educated about what's actually going on, um, I think, when you're doing you mentioned about the bachelor's degree you're doing in nutrition. I've got a master's in nutrition, and I,
Oh,
I
I love
believe
that.
you go through food labeling because it's a big topic. And
Okay.
you will realize that it really makes a difference to actually look
Yes.
at every product you buy in a grocery store and see what's actually in the product. The ingredients list is actually quite important too because you look at to see what's going on, if there are additives and all the preservatives. So the shorter the ingredient list, the better it is. Because
Yes.
then that means the food is less processed.
I love that. And like you say, like I got my associates. I have two associates degree in like a totally different field, but I have been surrounded, and even my job in the service. Like I'm a culinary specialist. I'm a cook, and I've always had a passion for cooking. But just watching, even with the related illness to what my mom's just going through, is just watching
Mm,
the way that my family looks. And you could think you could have someone that's skinny in your family, and you could have someone heavier in your family, and still the health problems that they go through could be the same.
true.
Like diabetes or anything like that.
Mm,
And I just got so fascinated with how food ties into all of this. And just like you saying, I was talked about it on other episodes. Being
mm,
over in other countries and other places, I could go like I'll say like Prague. The first thing that popped into my head. The food was way cleaner. I ate
yes.
more, but I was lighter when I came home. And it's just like it just was mind blowing to me. But just like you say, getting educated, I
Yes.
never would have known. And like we said, we live in a world where technology is here and you can see it, but actually living it and realizing that the food and like I say, Paris and Prague and even
Mm,
just London, like it just over there is just a different type of food and the way the food is processed, and even the breakfast. Like being an
yes.
American, breakfast is bacon, eggs, sausage. If we've been healthy, maybe some turkey bacon and sausage, and then
Yeah.
you go over to these other places, and it's like you have eggs, beans. You have charcuterie boards. You have this produce, these cheeses, and I would when I first thought about, it, I'm like, how is this healthy? Like this not healthy, and then you just learn even the way that they proportion out the food, like you say, the cleanness of the food,
Mm.
education, being educated is so important because
Oh,
it
yes.
kind of ties back into just realizing the goal, realizing
Yeah.
what are you trying to do. So when you
Yes.
get into these steps, you have to understand that if food and which it will be is going to be a part of my life, then let me understand it because it is a tool to help me get to the end goal of being more self-connected, more mindful. All
Yes.
of it ties in together. So that's amazing. I love that right
Exactly.
there.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah. It's
I'm
mindful eating we want to practice.
mindful eating, mindful eating. The next time I go to the grocery store, I'll be sending you pictures like, what is
Yeah.
what is
Yes.
this? Oh, you were saying this. So
Yeah.
getting
This
into
is what my clients do too. They send me pictures when they see something.
okay, so with us coming to an end, getting ready to wrap up here shortly. I have a question. We talked about the mindfulness of a mindful routine, accountability, mindful eating, mindful sleeping. We hit on the getting up and ways to maybe like mute your phone, D&D. But to like wrap this episode up, mindful sleeping. How important is sleeping and this mindfulness and the well being? How important is it, or is it important to you throughout your coaching practice?
It's very important. It's actually one of the things that I always talk about with my clients. It's almost worth, yeah, it's worth another episode for us. talk about sleeping. It's important to have a routine because sleep is um, essential for our mental and physical health, and we need the rest. And that is really the time when our brain gets to rest, gets to remove all the toxins that it accumulates throughout the day. And if you don't get enough sleep, you're going to have more problems regulating your emotions.
Yes.
You have more
Yes.
problems processing information to think clearly, to make decisions. And that's why it's something that we cannot forego, and it definitely is a priority every day. Every night it matters. You cannot say, oh, tonight I only have 4 hours sleep, and tomorrow I will make up. You cannot make up because every night it has the
It's
job to do, and it has to go through all those hours to give us the
yes.
energy that we need the next day. And so I feel that, if you want to, to be successful, you want to have the focus, then yes, I always say, sleep, and I wish you sweet dreams.
Yeah. Uh, I love that. I love that to just like I said, being in the service, just piggybacking off of what you said. Being in the service sometimes like we could be in the middle of the desert or the jungle, the field, whatever we call it, but the field could be 10,000 places, right? And
Yes.
now once again somebody is dictating how long you get to sleep or you don't really get to
Mm,
sleep. One of the biggest parts of me maturing that I have learned or like I have matured into is realizing throughout the service like sometimes we are programmed and by design of the up tempo of some of the
mm,
places that we're at in the service to make bad decisions and it kind I became more mindful of this and it made it where I didn't get so irritated at people or like lash out or be so angry when I realized like
yes.
this is exactly what it's set up to do. So
Yeah.
people don't get me wrong, like I definitely make notes and I'm like, okay, this is crazy. Like 9 times out of 10, we probably will be in a high stress environment. So we have to
Yes.
learn to kind of live in that space and live in that
Mm,
environment and train our brains to once again, like you keep saying, just being mindful of where we at and
yeah.
understanding that I can't react like a normal person. Like I'm
Yeah.
not able to sit here and freak out or
Mm,
continually make bad decisions in this environment because this is an
yes.
environment that is almost a constant for me. So I love that because like you said, you can make up sleep and that's why I say it's so important. Soldiers and anybody, like I'm a soldier, I use that a lot, but like anybody where somebody else kind of like dictates your pace as far as sleep or anything like that, when you're able to actually get sleep and get rest, take it, take it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
don't let the service, don't let the job, don't let people
Mm,
take you off of that. If your time is only your time for a limited amount of time, when it's your time, control it. So I
exactly.
thank you. I thank you for that so much. So, like I say, we're wrapping up here. Do you have any things that you want to say? Like, how can we reach you? We thank you so much for coming on the podcast. This is I feel like, going to be a very wonderful episode, and it's going to help and resonate with so many people. So, like I say, before we log off here, you just able to your social media or links or anything for we are able to get your coach or we'll be able to say, well, our coach is Tess from Miami. He got any of that?
Yeah, yeah. Well, you can reach me on my website, which is glowwithtess.com, and it's
Okay.
spelled glowwithtess.com, Glow with Tess. And my social media handles are the same, Glow with Tess. So you'll find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. When you go on my website, I have blog posts with health and wellness tips. You can also sign up for my monthly newsletters and you can see what I'm up to. And very often I have some health related suggestions. You can actually reach me and by filling out a contact form if you want to have a conversation to see if we can work together or you want some support. My website is the best way to get hold of me.
Okay, and as always, I will link all of her information to everywhere I posted that same thing. Overthinking, understanding. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and also when I put it in on the various Spotify, Apple, Amazon, we're everywhere. Anywhere you listen to
Yeah.
podcasts, you'll be able to find it. So, Tess, I cannot thank you enough. I greatly appreciate, and like I said, I can't show enough gratitude for you coming on this episode and just I've been able to share you with my viewers. If you're able to email me just where I can send your T-shirt and send me a
Yes.
T-shirt size, I would love to
Oh
send
yeah.
you a
Oh,
overthinking
thank you. I love
understanding
it. I love the
T-shirt. Let me know the
logo.
color that
Yeah.
you would like. Thank you so much. Yeah, so we did this. This
Thank
is
you.
like logo number 4 or 5.
It's very
Sorry,
cute. Yeah, I love
but
it.
um, but yeah, so that's a wrap. Until next time, be genuine to yourself and kind to people. Thank you again, Tess. We're
Thank
signing
you
off.
for
Thank you
having
so
me.
much.